Welcome in to the Dirty Pocket with Daniel Kelly and Stacy Bauman. I am joined by the Scout. How are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing well, thank you. It's when people ask me how I'm doing, it's a loaded question, and really the context comes down to: am I getting my way or am I not getting my way, and do I accept that or not? That's what it kind of comes down to.
Really deep this
listen,
week.
That's some philosophy coming from the Scout. But that's really what it comes down to here. So yeah, I'm doing good, I guess. I guess you could say. I mean, whoever invented that saying, "It is what it is." That was a genius.
It is what it is, and what is yours is always on its way to you. So wow, man, we went real right. Zen for a Dirty Pocket episode.
We went play action, baby, off the first snap.
Wowzer, man. Wowzer. Well, good. So, okay, before we get started on what we think are some of the highlights of this week, what are we drinking? I got nothing.
All right, we're going back. We're going back to Old Reliable for the second straight week. We're going back with
this
Pepsi.
Is week 2 of that.
I know, it really is. That should tell you how little is in our refrigerator right now. Is I could have gone water, I could have gone beer, right? But usually that's for the weekends, and but Pepsi, I'm pushing hard to get this as a sponsor for us. Pepsi, right there.
There we go.
There,
okay.
Is I'm pushing hard because they need something new. They need a taste of a new generation. I mean, that's back in the 80s. How about the taste?
I knew that was coming,
pop?
man. You beat me to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I love it.
I mean, that sounds great. I mean, even Mikey got older. We got to switch it up sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Pepsi, come on, hit us up. Hit up the Scout. We're ready to really pump that Pepsi into that next generation and the Dirty Pocket. I mean, come on.
Absolutely. I mean, put a little Pepsi, like a little logo or something beside my hat.
Wow, this is really giving of you. That's awesome. All right. Well, yeah, man. This is one of those weeks. We're a few days from Christmas. We're taping this on Wednesday night. We've had a weird week. I mean, we had 2 games last night. My team played. Your team played. Sorry about that, man.
Tuesday night football, Monday night football, Wednesday night football. I mean, we're going 7 days.
I know. Roger Goodell. I mean, they're making so much money. It's ridiculous. But
more. Just like Ebenezer Scrooge. More.
It's crazy. The players are just like, we can't even recover here, folks. So, weird week. So I picked out a couple of highlights on a short week with the holidays and family and all that stuff going on. Next week, you better be popping out some eggnog or something. But I don't even have a drink this week. So let's talk about a couple of highlights of things we know. First and foremost, the Washington football team. I'm sorry, my man. I still think they're a couple players away. And it was tough to watch that. I was rooting for them last night. And they, in fact, went on to lose. And then, of course, I was watching the Rams Seahawks. I know that surprises you. There it goes.
That
shocking.
Is surprising.
I got to re-get the gear surprising. Up. But the Rams Seahawks, I wanted to pick your brain on a couple of subjects there this week and get your feelings on it. I mean, the Rams end up winning this game 20-10. I thought they got the benefit of 2 really egregious, pathetic calls by the officials, and I'm a Rams fan. I'm pretty open about that. The 3rd and long that they got they said Cooper Kupp was being held or interfered with, that bailed the Rams out of a punt situation that kept the drive going, that led to the go-ahead touchdown. And then at the end of the game, that really bad throw by Russell. It was a bad throw, but Ernest Jones doesn't get his head around and runs right into DJ Dallas. DJ Dallas goes nuts and kicks a football and gets an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. I thought the Rams had a lot going on there. I don't know if you saw this game. Feel free to be honest, because, again, you were watching the Washington football team, so I'd be surprised. Okay.
Yeah, I did not see the game. No, I'll go ahead at the game show buzzer for you and tell you. I did not see that game. I mean, believe it or not, check this out, right? I don't watch every game.
What?
I mean, it seems like I do. I mean, there's only about 3,500 college football players to look at, and the 53 guys to each team times 32, 1,700 guys to watch in the NFL. I mean, there's not much to do. But one thing I learned at the Jets was the season never ends. I mean, you can literally watch guys 24 hours a day. You can watch games. I mean, but I didn't see this one. I didn't see this because I knew. See, teamwork makes the dream work, and I knew that you would watch the Rams for us. So I didn't feel it necessary to watch the Rams because I knew you would watch them through a very unbiased lens.
I owned up to that responsibility, and I came through for you, man. I watched the Rams. Haven't missed a game, of course, in 35 years, but that's a whole other conversation because I'm only 36.
That's cool.
So, It was an interesting game.
Rockabye baby. When you were 1 year old, your mother put you to sleep.
And here we are, man. And here we are. It was an interesting game. Sony Michel starts out. I know you had a high grade on him coming out of Georgia. I really like how he's coming together after we picked him up in a trade with the Patriots. He starts out and really, really put some strong runs together. The running game was on. McVay started to stray from it again. I could go into great detail on the Rams. Von Miller gets his first sack as a Ram. That was awesome. Aaron Donald continues to be just from another planet. I don't know how he's not Defensive Player of the Year, except it's voter fatigue at this point. But I want to ask you something else, man. And this is more to the emotional side of football. Having been in NFL locker rooms with the Jets as a scout and under the Belichick regime, how long is it going to be? Two big questions that I want to tackle from this game. We're going to skip the Rams after this. We won, and it's awesome. I'm part of the organization. Did anyone tell you? When I'm not at the dirty pocket, I mean, McVay and Snead are leaning into me for personnel decisions. I mean, come on.
Hey, I used to joke with my dad all the time, growing up in Minnesota really quickly. He would say we because he's a big Vikings fan. And I say, and of course, I grew up a big Redskin fan. And I always tell my dad, I'm like, you mean Washington, right, Dad? He's like, no, you know what I mean. I mean Minnesota. I'm like, oh, okay. I always
yeah. I mean,
but go ahead.
Right. I mean, if we could talk.
Absolutely.
I'm the Los Angeles Rams. Sure. Yeah.
We.
Just in shifting gears completely over to the Seattle Seahawks, I've got a couple of questions for a guy with your experience. How long before DK Metcalf completely implodes? I mean, he was losing his stuff last night, grabbing his head. Jalen Ramsey shut him down. Now, Russell Wilson had some bad passes, and Jalen was able to recover and play some really strong pass defense. But DK looks like a Terrell Owens type that's about to just go sideways. What say you on DK Metcalf? What are we looking at over and under on when he completely explodes and wants out of Seattle?
I don't know the time frame, but the interesting thing that you point out, I was talking to someone about this a few months back. It's how many of these great wide receivers and these super talent wide receivers have we seen over the last 15, 20 years that have gone sideways? These guys with super amounts of talent, they just get in trouble. They do all these, Ocho Cinco. You had Des Bryant. You had Plaxico Burress shoot himself in the foot of the club. You had, you've had all these different things happen throughout the years. Josh Gordon with his 12th life he's on in the NFL, and these guys that are just super talented, and they just, Antonio Bryant. They just have these these issues, and now you touch on DK Metcalf. I don't really know, what the time frame is or what the over under is. I'm sure there is one in Vegas because there's an over under on just about everything. But he's a super talented player. It's just, he's strong. He's a good player. He's all that. It's just, I don't know. I'm really surprised how the wheels have kind of come off the Seattle Seahawks. John Schneider, the general manager there, has always been super good to me throughout the years. He actually sent, when my daughter was going through cancer, he in the hospital when she was a year and a half old, he sent like some flowers and a big teddy bear to the hospital. And, John's always been great. He sent me some handwritten cards throughout the years. And, I helped Trent Kirshner get in the NFL up there in Seattle. And they're a really good organization with Pete Carroll and everything. It's just really kind of weird how the whole thing has evolved and the wheels are kind of coming off of it. But, we'll have to see what happens with DK Metcalf. I remember watching Eric Metcalf growing up. I mean, those guys are super
those Cleveland Browns.
Guys.
Oh, God, he was great. Yeah, DK was going sideways last night, and it's not the first time. The Rams really do have his number, although he's had some good games. But he was playing last night without Tyler Lockett on the other side. He's obviously the number one. There you go. Okay, Pepsi, call us Pepsi. But DK you could even see him getting frustrated with Russ, and Russ was trying to talk to him, and he'd walk away from him. And I thought, this is the end, which leads me to my next question for the scout and the future GM. Are we seeing the end of Russell Wilson's tenure in Seattle?
We might be seeing the end of Russell Wilson, period.
Do you think he may just up and retire and just go be with the singer girlfriend?
I don't know.
Or wife?
I don't know. I've kind of noticed a pattern. He just seems more and more withdrawn from the game, in my opinion. He just seems, when I see him, he just seems a little bit more distant is the only way I can put it. And, I don't know. I don't know if the game's holding his attention anymore. He seems a little unfocused, a little undisciplined. It just seems like some things have changed in his life. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if even if he does go somewhere else.
Very interesting observation.
I don't know if it'll work out. It could be.
I'll tell you what, that's an interesting observation, not one I expected out of you. So I looked at Russell. That's damn right.
That's why you have me on the show.
We're partners in crime here. I tell you, I watched him over this last season, and there was a couple times last night. Greg Gaines got to him on one play and knocked him to the ground. And there wasn't a flag. It was clean. And they caught the shot of Russell Wilson just kind of looking over to the sidelines like, guys, I just don't want to do this anymore. I mean, you could just see it on his face. I encourage you to go find it. He's just looking at it
that's what I'm talking about.
And I was assuming he was looking at the Seahawk sidelines. You couldn't tell, but it's really something that you bring that up. I had the feeling last night, I tried to take it in because I got the strong sense that I'm seeing the last rivalry game with Russ Wilson. I just got the sense, and he didn't look all that engaged. He wasn't making his... Yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm talking
I hadn't
about.
thought about it at the depth you had, but he just looked like a guy who was like, yeah, let's get this over with. He wasn't making the off-script plays that have basically carried Seattle the last few years, and it was just kind of one of those moments I thought, I'm going to ask the scout about this because I just get the feeling last night I may have seen the last Russell Wilson Seahawks versus my Los Angeles Rams. I think he is distracted by a lot of off-the-field stuff, too.
He is. And in all fairness, this really started for me, these observations, when they were in the Super Bowl a few years back. And he went through a divorce when he divorced his high school sweetheart. And then he got married to somebody else. And it's been ever since that time. That really struck me as weird because, he had been a guy that had been really into his spirituality and really talking a lot about God and being all about that. Is very, very vocal about it. Then after he went through his divorce, he kind of tuned down on that. And he seemed to kind of go more into the more into the spotlight, more towards the fame, the contracts, the endorsements. It just seems kind of like we're just seeing kind of another star in the entertainment world kind of being swallowed up by the machine, I think, in this whole thing. And I think it's kind of all just kind of lost its luster. I mean, like my dad used to say, how many cars can you buy? How many airplanes? How many homes can you buy? It just gets to a point where you have so much money like these guys have that you really wonder, some people kind of like, what am I doing this for? And then, of course, you sit there and watch all these guys who they can't remember their name or how to write when they're 40 years old or 45. And, a quarterback's a real violent position. And you start wondering about, as a time, what's it all for? I think he's kind of at that stage where he's just kind of like, this is my opinion. But to piggyback up what you're saying, Stacey, I think he's kind of at that stage where he's just kind of like, hey, been there, done that, been to the top of the mountain. Is this all there is type of thing? I think he's going through a real soul-searching time. And, I don't know. I don't know if he really has that drive anymore to win it. I know there's teams out there that would offer something substantial for him, but I can tell you what, if I got a call tomorrow to become a general manager in the NFL and my phone rang and I picked it up and it was John Schneider, I'd be like, hey, John, great to hear from you. Like I said, a great guy to me throughout the years. If he said, hey, does your team, you guys have any interest in Russell Wilson? I would have to politely decline. I'm not feeling it. I'm not seeing it. And it looks like Russell Wilson's put on some weight too, maybe. And it just seems like there's a lot of things going on with him. He just looks a little bit, it's just a lot of things going on with him that are not pointing in the right direction. I mean, in the Jets scouting world with grading, we had a grade on a guy in the pro department with an arrow going up, an arrow going sideways, or an arrow going down, meaning the player was ascending, staying the same, or declining. And my grade would have an arrow going down.
The way thing's an interesting comment because I picked up on that a little bit myself last night, and I also thought DK Metcalf looked really heavy last night. It's very interesting comment.
He's put on some weight too. I mean, he's got a six pack. He's always lifted. He looks like a linebacker playing.
But he looked heavy last night. I don't know if it was a flash jack or something. He just looked heavy. Russ looked a little puffy, a little heavy, and he just looked disengaged. And I think that's interesting because you've made similar comments when we've been evaluating some of the rookies, Trevor Lawrence. The guys just, where are they? And Russell, he's getting older. He's got kids. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got all kinds of business interests. He's definitely gives back to the community. He's unreal. And I just got that sense last night. We're seeing his last few games as a Seahawk. I think he'll probably end up with the Saints. Somebody like that's still got some infrastructure and an offensive-minded coach. He's denying it, but I'm not buying it. And I think your observations are spot on with mine as well. So I'm going to shift. Oh,
you know what they say. You know what they say when people deny things like that.
Go ahead.
It's kind of like the owner giving the dreaded vote of confidence this time of the year to the coach.
It really is. Yeah.
He's our guy. We're 100% behind him.
No, I'm with you. I just think that. So I kind of took in the game differently last night, thinking this is probably it. And Aaron Donald just tosses that guy around like a rag doll, and he was doing it again last night. I don't know if anyone sacked Russell Wilson more than Aaron Donald. Every single season he beats that guy up, and you can just see Russell going, "Can I get out of the NFC West?" Like, it's just over. So I'm going to throw something else completely at you that I thought was a big story. At least for me, it was very interesting, and we never stray from the handful of top guys that we're always talking about. But when I watched the Buccaneers' inability to score a single point against the New Orleans Saints, and the game ends 9-0, and the GOAT, as he's been called, looks completely shook, and he's taking Microsoft tablets and smashing them. And then they run the stat that it's been 255 games since he was part of a shutout. What did you see out of Tom Brady in this game? And we're in December. You and I talk a lot about getting hot at the right time. The fact that he couldn't score against the Saints? Or should Buck fans be reaching for the Maalox ulcers,
Let's put it this way. Stacey. It's kind of like a record on the record player. You ever have records when you were younger, right? You put them on the record player, it plays the same song, right? I mean, we saw this exact same thing last year, did we not?
I remember when the Broncos got hammered by 2 games too.
So,
and then,
no, but the Saints with Brady, we saw the same thing,
absolutely.
Right? Last year, and how did
turned out pretty good? He was tossing the Lombardi on a boat in Tampa Bay somewhere. Yeah.
See, he went for instead of the tablet, it was a Lombardi trophy. So I'm not worried about Tom Brady. As a matter of fact, I think that games like this, in a way, could be his, kind of a way of psyching himself up, or a little reverse psychology, or I think they'll be just fine. I think that, but I will say this. That anybody who's going to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs, they will eat, breathe, and sleep game tape against the New Orleans Saints, because the Saints have shown a formula of how to do this. And so if I was going to face the Bucs in the playoffs, I would just be sitting there. I would just watch the game 20 times. I'd have my staff. Well, what are we going to do this week, guys? Let's watch the Bucs.
I tell you what, man,
over the last
I
2
am
years.
absolutely in awe of what the Saints have been able to do to Tom Brady's Buccaneers. I mean, he has lost to the Saints now 4 times in a row since he became a Buccaneer. Yeah, I know. You just alluded to it. I'm going to throw some numbers at you because I scraped them together. The Saints have sacked him 13 times in 2 seasons. No one else is even close. The Falcons have like 7. The Rams had like 5 or 6 in their 2 games. The Saints have sacked him 3 times in each game. 3 times, except for this last game where they got him 4 times. Cam Jordan was going bonkers, having a career night. And I'm wondering, now you said something last week that needs to be reiterated tonight about Coach Allen. You think he's a head coach next year? The head coach,
Who's
the
this
defensive coordinator, is it Dennis Allen? Am I losing my mind right here? The defensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. It was.
No.
Oh, sorry. Okay, that was standing in for Sean Payton. I mean, he clearly has Brady's number. He knows how to play him. Now, he used to be the head coach of the Oakland, or at the time they were the Oakland Raiders. And since the 2020 season, Brady has thrown 8 interceptions against the Saints. I mean, what are they doing right?
Well, this is interesting. I know there's a reason why we do this show together, right? And a lot of times it's about connecting the dots. And you just brought something to my mind. You remember how you talked about how Trevor Lawrence was another Jeff George, right? And that kind of gave birth to that analogy in my life. And so now I use it all the time. That Dennis Allen thing you're bringing up was almost.
Oh, I thought we talked. Okay, you're right. Maybe what was I drinking last week?
Yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't Pepsi, but the thing of it is maybe what happens, because as I stated in last week's show, there is no way, no how that any hot coordinator, like big name guy, Bieniemy, Todd Bowles, Kellen Moore, any of these type, Byron Leftwich. There's no possible way any of those guys are going to commit career suicide and go to Jacksonville with an insubordinate Trevor Lawrence, the train wreck that they have going on down there. So maybe, just maybe, Stacy, right? Maybe Dennis Allen becomes the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You may hit on something very special tonight. And why do I say that? Because Baalke, right? Trent Baalke, the GM of the Jaguars, if he survives this whole thing down in Jacksonville, Baalke worked with me at the Jets under Bill Parcells, and Sean Payton happens to be a what? A Bill Parcells disciple. Maybe, just maybe, he leaves and goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm talking about Dennis Allen. Because nobody else is going to take that job, I'll tell you that right now. And that could just be the job that he takes.
Very interesting. So he may go the Jacksonville Jaguars route. I mean, there's a lot of young guys. We talked a little bit about it on this show last week. Byron Leftwich, Eric Bieniemy. No, I think those guys are good. They got to be targeting Chicago with Justin Fields. Yeah. That'd be a lot of fun. I would like that, actually. That'd be a lot of fun.
Is where he's going.
But this issue, Dennis Allen as a coordinator, and I could see you're probably right. He could go the Jacksonville route. It's really, I think that's a very interesting choice. It might be a good one because they're probably stronger on the defensive side of the ball with Miles Jack and some of those guys. But man, I'll tell you.
And Hutchinson, who they're probably
good point. So good strategy from the scout this week. It really is something though to watch Dennis Allen and what he has done to Tom Brady. I mean, Brady was so frustrated in that game. I mean, tossing computer. At one point, here's another thing, man. Let's talk about this on the Dirty Pocket. We've had guys getting fined and personal fouls for literally just staring at the other team's sideline. Do you remember that earlier this year? Who was that did? There was literally a player that I cannot remember the team, and I'm ashamed to say that on our show. He literally walked out to midfield after a tackle, and he stared at the other team's sideline, and they flagged him. They're flagging.
I remember the guy in Kansas City that pulled against the Cowboys or something, that pulled that AK-47 imaginary, started blasting the Cowboys bench with his imaginary air rifle. I remember that one.
Yeah, it was a player, and I'm sitting here feverishly looking for this, and I can't find it. But there was a player, he was a linebacker, made a play, and he just stared at the other sideline. And was it the Bears? Anyway, it doesn't matter because we could find 500 other examples of guys just lipping off after a tackle or something, and they're getting 15-yard penalties, and it's so egregious. Tom Brady in the Saints game at one point, he throws that game-clinching pick that lost the game. It was over when he threw it. He runs over to one of the coordinators on the Saints sideline. And I mean, the mic catches it all. We can't say it on this show or we're kicked off YouTube. He goes something about a mother and a something else and lets him have it. Yeah, and no flag because, he's Tom Brady.
Beep, beep.
And I just thought, this is ridiculous. Guys can't even stand over a guy and stare at him. But Tom Brady can run over to the sideline, scream at a coach. Anyway, an interesting game with the Buccaneers and the Saints, and I want to get your thoughts on that. Let me end this subject with this. Do you think that we saw a bit of a blueprint for Tom Brady for the playoffs coming up, or are you sticking with the
I don't know. Tom Brady is seeing every defense, knowing the man. So I'm sure, these guys, I remember Peyton Manning used to talk about how they would do like advanced scouting for the opponent, then they would advanced scout themselves and see what their own tendencies were. And so I'm sure Brady will kind of Brady is, you have to understand something too. I mean, and I know you know this, but to our listeners, Brady's a guy who's a psychological master. I mean, that's why he attracted, Bill Belichick into his life, into his path. Charlie Weiss, another psychological, master, and so they're great at mind games. They're great at this type of stuff. Brady wants the league to think that, they got the blueprint on me now. It's almost like going into battle. He wants the enemy to kind of let his guard down. He's done. He's finally at the end of his career. Because we all know Tom Brady was like Michael Jordan. They live for the playoffs. They live for the Super Bowl. That's why they play the game. They're getting to that point. You might be able to pick out some good things that you can take away from that game. But, if you get Brady once, you get him. But I don't know if you're getting the same way twice.
Times with the Saints or that one team, man. 4 straight losses, 13 sacks, 8 picks. It's like, it's just really something else, isn't it?
It's always
so switching gears here as we close out the Dirty Pocket this week. Your Pepsi's running low, and yeah. Oh, you went for the mini can. Gotcha. I forgot any kind of drink. So
I went for the mini cans. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, it's we could do this like I can just hear the endorsement right now at the Dirty Pocket. Hey, you can see the referee coming up. First charge timeout says we have 45-second timeout. Hey, when you don't have 2 minutes to drink a Pepsi, take a mini can
like a
instead. 45-second timeout. I mean, you can see it right there. I mean, there it is. There's a shot right there. I mean, that was that was off the dome.
I love it. Okay, so we're going to close out this week with a couple of games. But before I get to that, I think the other compelling subject that we got to run through this pocket is the MVP race. I think it's a really interesting one. And I'm going to throw some names out at you, and I want to hear a yay or a nay, like they are someone that should be considered as an MVP, and a couple of them are dark horses. So get ready, my friend. You've been in the league a long time. I think that you're going to have some strong opinions. MVP race as of today, a couple of days before Christmas. Tom Brady, quarterback, Bucks. Okay.
Absolutely.
Even after this loss.
Hands down, he's the guy.
Hands down?
He's the guy. Even after this loss, because here's the thing, okay? Hands down.
Come on.
Hands down. And the reason, hands down.
Oh, come on.
End of discussion. Drop the mic. Give him the prize. Thanks for playing, everybody else. Bob, tell them what they won. Because here's the reason why, Stacey.
I can't deny that. I knew it was coming.
He's 44 years old, and he's still doing this. When Peyton Manning and Drew Brees and all these other Tony Romo and all these, Troy Aikman's in the booth with Buck, with all these guys are doing, years. He's played years past what any human being has been able to do at this level in history. He's the only 40-year-old something quarterback that has ever played this way, really in history, right? I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean.
He wasn't
I don't know how
this.
Johnny Unitas was at the end, or Bob Greasy, or right? They weren't doing this, And there was George Blanda. I think it was one of them too, was it? Raiders or something. But I mean, it's just This is something that we have never seen in the history of the National Football League.
I'm going to tell you, man. And
tell me what are his stats.
The whole argument for me with Tom Brady is he's doing this over 40 years old. He has, after 40, he has thrown just this season 4,348 yards, 36 touchdowns, 11 picks. His QBR is 100.4. He's 44. That's bonkers. I don't know if I give it to him, but
that's crazy. I mean, give it to him. This guy was winning Super Bowls when the incoming draft
there's
class
no arguing
was born.
that. I mean, it's nuts.
Give it to him.
Whether you love the guy or hate the guy, people, I don't know we'll ever see this again. Not in our lifetimes. This is nuts. Okay, so you're saying TB,
probably not.
TB12.
Just give it to him. When people say,
wow,
TB12, it's over. I mean, just from a standpoint that he's doing something
so you're
the
not,
game has never seen before.
Well, wait a minute. So, okay, what about my guy? I'm not going to tell you. My guy, 3,487 yards, 30 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. His quarterback rating is 110.4. He's 36. Who's my guy? I'm not going to lie about that.
44 and 36.
But do you know who my guy is? I just reeled those stats off at. He's my favorite right now. You love him. Oh God, you'd start a team with him tomorrow.
It could.
As a matter of fact, it is.
It couldn't be Aaron Rodgers, could it? Oh my gosh! See,
yeah,
you thought
you might say that.
I think it was Stafford because of the way you teased me on it. Because it was your guy. But
he's so gifted.
Rodgers,
come on.
Hey, we all know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. Okay, what's the date today? December 22nd. Yeah. Let's. You know how you like putting up the little sound clips. Let me tee the sound clip up for you so you can put this on. You know how you like to do this. Okay, here's a Twitter clip. Okay, December 22nd. We know what's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers, for the third consecutive year, is going to lead the Green Bay Packers to the altar before he has somehow, some way, rather another, he has another collapse. And it's his final middle finger to the Green Bay Packers organization, who just thought that maybe they could bring him back and he would finally lead them to another Super Bowl. But instead, Rodgers has the last laugh. But they lived, well, not happily ever after.
I hate my guy, man.
They still you know what I mean? That's what's going to happen here. Rodgers is going to let them down in a playoffs.
Come on, he was great last year. That defense, that stupid.
It's his final swan song.
Pass right before halftime that Brady got off to Scotty Miller was, come on.
We are going to find out why I said the Green Bay Packers need to cut him before the season began. We are going to find out why in the postseason I said that, because guaranteed he's going to have another big letdown, and it's going to be all over, and it's going to be his final, wave at the general manager.
Goes off with his gorgeous girlfriend and just lives a life. He's a game show host.
That's going to be it.
All right.
Game show host, absolutely.
Singing Taylor Swift songs.
Yeah. Hawaii or something.
He's done it.
Holding up
and he also,
Pepsi.
He's got a 110 quarterback rating in the NFL, and he's the reigning NFL MVP. Okay.
Hey, that's great if you play fantasy football.
TB12.
No thanks to Kirk Cousins, everybody, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so TB12 is your guy. Right now, as of tonight, I'm picking Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes, is he in the race? Yay or nay? Yeah, okay, you're in the same boat I am with him. How about my guy, Matthew Stafford? 4,142 yards, 35 TDs, 10 picks, 108 quarterback rating. Matt, what if he puts it together the next 2 weeks and we win the NFC West? God, you're brutal.
No, it's still not going to do. He's going to have to win the whole thing.
That's fair.
He's going to have to win the whole thing to even have a shot. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about Stafford. I did say last year for SI Detroit Lions that he could become the MVP of the league in 2020. So I was a year, removed. I was, seeing into the future. Yeah, Stafford's a really good quarterback for the Rams. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but it's just not.
Okay, fair enough. Now my dark horses.
TB12 does.
Can somebody besides a quarterback ever win this award again? This guy has run for over 1,500 yards, has a over a 5-yard carry average, 17 touchdowns, and he's caught 36 passes. He plays out of the backfield in Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin. I need to go back and look at your grade on him. Can he win this thing? Dark horse.
Nice season. Nice season.
Okay.
Nice season, but he's going to have to do
I'd be mad. I like the kid. I think it'd be fun to...
I do too. He's had a real nice season, but
it's a quarterback award.
This is about popularity.
So now I'm going to hit you with my last guy, who I just think is just ridiculous. I know this is going to shock you. From the wide receiver position, as of today, this gentleman has 122 catches, over 1,600 receiving yards, a 13-yard average per catch, 14 touchdowns. He has gone 5 games this season with 2 touchdowns a game. He is inching ever close to the receiver triple crown title. He is the only wide receiver in history to have 10 straight games with 90 yards or more. And he just passed the Hall of Famer Isaac Bruce last night to be the Rams' all-time season reception leader. And there's 2 to 3 weeks to go. Cooper Kupp. Come on, man. Is he part of the combo? Ooh, he throws me a bone.
He is. He would be the only. God, he does. He throws you a little bone. I like Cooper a lot. He stuck out to me a lot. I think he's in that race. He's in that conversation. You know, I would take Cooper over Mahomes. If I was voting, it would really come down to your guy.
I just think he's the best quarterback in football.
Your man crush, Aaron Rodgers.
He's good.
It's your man crush. Come on, let's face it. TB12 and Cooper. I think those are really the 3 guys that are in the discussion. I think that Cooper's had a great season. He really has.
I love it, man. And you're a guy who's covered and
he's
watched
a really good football player.
Calvin Johnson and some of the great. The only other guys who do it are Calvin Johnson, Jerry Rice, and I think Steve Smith actually got it or something. Somebody odd like that, but.
And props really quickly to Brad Holmes, the general manager of the Detroit Lions, who back when he was a scout with the Rams is the one who really unearthed Cooper and kind of put him on, kind of fought for him at the table. The way the story goes is Brad Holmes is a big Cooper fan. And
I love Brad Holmes.
Props to him because that's real scouting right there. Because Cooper wasn't a highly touted guy coming out.
Eastern Washington,
and Brad Holmes found him and here he is. So it just shows that great scouting can.
Did you just throw in some love for scouts?
And Brad Holmes did a great job with him.
Did you just throw in the scout? Just throw in some love for the scouts.
I did.
I like it.
It's Christmas.
Very subtle. Very subtle.
It's Christmas.
Hey, look. I mean, the scouts, yourself included, are so underappreciated. They're so underappreciated. So.
Oh, absolutely. Without the scouts, everyone wants to talk about coaching.
Yeah.
Without the scouts, there'd be nobody to coach. It's about grinding the film and finding these guys, and it's really hard to do because it's you got to really dig into the film, and really look at the film because, for example, really quickly, I looked at a guy, Daxton Hill, who's a corner / safety coming out. Wrote an article for him tomorrow on SI Detroit Lions out of Michigan. And, PFF is saying that he's a first-round safety for Baltimore. When I watched Daxton, number 30 for Michigan, in 4 different games this afternoon in the evening, I didn't see that at all. I didn't see that at all. Matter of fact, I saw a guy who I gave a much lower grade to. Than a first round grade. So it's just you have to really pay close attention and you have to really grind the film.
Wow.
That's what you have to do. And I give him a 3rd round grade. And I think I probably give him the lowest grade of anybody in the country. But it's just every single ball is thrown in his direction, the other guy caught it. And that's at the college level. What's going to happen in the NFL. But that's the difference. You can't get caught up in the hype. And being a scout, you have to be able to dig and you have to be able to grind the film because you have to look at every smallest, slightest bit of change of direction, every nuance.
Let's make a promise to our listeners right here. There's a teaser.
You got to look at.
We're going to do a show sooner than later. We're in the middle of the holidays next week. We're kind of inching between Christmas and New Year's. Let's do a show about scouting. That's your expertise as you move into the general manager world.
Okay.
We're gonna tease that on this show. We're gonna do what it means to be a scout, what it looks like to be a scout, what hours you put in, the life you lead. Here's your teaser, folks, on the Dirty Pocket. Stay tuned. That's coming at you. We will tease it. We got to wrap up this week. And so I'm just going to throw one game at you, and that is tomorrow night's game, Thursday night, because it's got deep implications. Your favorite coach in the NFL, Kyle Shanahan, and the San Francisco 49ers versus...
Oh, yes. the smartest guy in the NFL. Why? Because he keeps Trey Lance on the bench where he belongs. That's the only reason why San Francisco is in the playoff. That's the only reason why they're in the playoff race, because he has kept him as what was that again in the newspaper article?
Yeah.
As the scout team player of the week, I believe was the article. So, yeah, Kyle Shanahan, bravo, kudos. Hey, you traded the farm and the kitchen sink for the guy. 3 number 1 draft picks. 3 number 1 draft picks. But, to your point, yes, Kyle Shanahan.
Sorry, I even brought it up. The 49ers versus the Tennessee Titans, both of them trying to get in the playoffs. The Niners, a surprising 8-6, blown away by that. Kept Trey Lance on the bench.
Because they kept Trey Lance on the bench.
Vrabel coaching his ass off with players.
He's running the scout team.
Learned tonight that Saffold and Taylor Lewan aren't going to play. They're already out. King Henry, Mike Vrabel, man, talk about a blue collar stud. Who do you like in this game? Just give us a winner and a loser. You like the Titans to beat them?
Tennessee. Here's why.
Oh, of course.
Let's trace this back for you. Did you ever play Connect the Dot as a child? Like with the, of course we all did.
I did it before Spin the Bottle.
That was before. Maybe they don't anymore because they have iPads and I this. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, those were the good old days. Anyways, so back to the days when we didn't wear bike helmets or seatbelts or that stuff, and we still survived. Anyways. Oh yeah, dangerous stuff. We were living on the edge, but connecting the dot. Let's look at Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel comes from. Let's go trace him back. He comes from the Patriots, where he played in Belichick. And what has Belichick done against Shanahan throughout the years? He's owned him. So I think that kind of answers the question. We remember the Super Bowl. What was the score in that game?
I don't know how that guy sleeps.
Thing when Shanahan was with the Atlanta Falcons? There was
28-3. All he needed was to get a first down and just run the ball, run the clock. But he drops old Matt Ryan back. It gets strip sacked. Yeah. And Tom Brady goes on to become the GOAT. Yeah. So.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you like the Titans? I am going to go with you on this one. Of course, I want the Niners to lose, but I think that Vrabel's guys do what Dan Campbell's guys do, and they show up and play they just come together. Yeah.
They pull together.
And it's fun stuff. And it's fun stuff.
Next guy
that's all the time we got for here at the Dirty Pocket, because, we've got other things to navigate in life. And folks, if you are not following the scout, Daniel Kelly, please follow him on whateverittakesbook.com. He also writes for Sports Illustrated for the Lions and the Jets and is a feature writer for NFL Draft Diamonds. Go follow him. You do a lot of writing.
Sounds like I do a lot of writing.
Yeah.
90 words a minute. Look at those fingers. Look at those fingers. 90 words a minute. Look at that.
Okay.
Oh, no.
There you go. So he's dancing for you. Go watch him dance.
These things dance.
Oh, yeah. There's a teaser.
Just
new article on
Chris
Olave, Ohio State wide receiver. Go check it out. NFL Draft Diamonds, Daniel Kelly. Oh, it was Jets SI. Excuse me.
I said he's going to be a bust. No, it was in the Jets SI. I said he's going to be a bust. Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. It ranks number 2 right now on Google News if you type in Chris Olave.
No.
But I'm the only person in the country. Everyone else says he's going to be a first-round draft pick. I say he's going to be a bust in Sports Illustrated.
Oh, wow.
Putting my name on it.
Okay, so there you go, folks.
Fingers dancing.
Check out the Scout. Good stuff. He works hard at this stuff. You can find us at the Dirty Pocket, and we have a fantastic Facebook group. Yeah, it's called the Blindside Blitz. Go in there and tell us how handsome we are.
Always dirty.
Tell us how much you agree with our opinions, because we're always right. We'd love to have you. You can find me, Stacey Bauman, at gridironicon.com and the Gridiron Icon podcast. But please like, subscribe, and interact with us. We like it on Twitter and on YouTube. And Pepsi, call us. Come on now. Okay.
Absolutely. Daniel, our new email addresses are
from
Daniel
myself
and
the
Stacey
Scout,
at Pepsi.com.
a merry, merry holiday season, whatever holiday you are practicing. Blessings to you and your family.
That's right.
Enjoy the football. And for Daniel Kelly, any final words?
Well, as you've said all year
folks.
long,
New Year's is around the corner.
The unexpected.
Thank you from us. We'll see you next week at the Dirty Pocket.
2022, ball dropping. Sounds good. Take care. Enjoy football.